Welcome to the Guy Pie Podcast, featuring Anthony, Chris, John, Sean, and Mark. This is a weekly podcast where five guys come together to make the ultimate conversational pie about the games they are currently playing.
Welcome to the Guy Pie Podcast. I'm Chris. Joining me is Mark.
What is?
Sean.
Say John or
Is it Sean?
Hi, John. How's it going? He said Sean though, but
Hi, John.
John, you're looking great. What
So
are
that was John
The
and Sean.
anti-aging cream
That's
working
the double
wonders.
combo.
moisturizing or something?
And
You might as well just say Sean John next time.
at this point, I kind of commit to both of you. And then Anthony.
Hello.
All right. Starting off today, we're going to talk about Animal Well. Sean, you've been the one of us playing it. Tell us about your experience with it.
I have been playing Animal Well quite a bit. I've completed it fully. Like I've done everything. Like I've done all the puzzles and stuff like that. But the important thing about Animal Well, and what a lot of people I've noticed, like when they're talking about Animal Well, is not to spoil anything. What does that mean? Animal Well doesn't have like a conventional story. There's no narrative. There's no text dialogue. There's no spoken dialogue. It's basically all about platforming and puzzle solving. But the reason that people say they don't want to spoil anything is because of the way that puzzles are solved. Puzzles on surface are pretty simplistic. Like you have a number of items that you use to solve puzzles. Like you have a slinky that can go downstairs and stuff. You have a yo-yo that you can use. You have like bubbles, frisbees, tops, all kinds of stuff that you can solve puzzles with. And a lot of the puzzles are pretty straightforward. Like this one is you literally just have to wake up the chinchillas, which is really easy. A lot of the puzzles are straightforward and easy to solve just by using intuition. However, there are a number of puzzles. So one of the main parts of the game is like collecting eggs. It's not like you don't have to do it, but it's like a kind of a bonus feature for completionists. And the way that you collect eggs is like on surface level, a lot of these rooms look like, okay, this is the puzzle. I solved it. I got what I needed. But you can tell in this wall here, there's something here. No explanation. Just like, it looks like dice, right? But actually, this is part of the game where it gets super complex. So end game, there's three really big puzzles to solve. The first is getting all of the eggs, which is how you get the true ending. And getting all the eggs is like each room has like essentially two puzzles, where one puzzle is kind of surface area, the next puzzle you kind of have to look and figure it out. And that getting all the eggs, pretty easy. Not gonna lie, like it's not the hardest thing. And then there's a separate puzzle where you have to get all the bunnies, and this wall mural is part of it. So actually, what this wall mural is showing you is that numbers correspond to how you play your flute. So what I mean by that is like up. I don't want to spoil it too much because you give it too much away, and that's what people are kind of against. So, getting all the bunnies is extremely hard, and I have no idea how some people figure out these puzzles. There's this one that's just called Floor is Lava, and essentially someone figured out like you have to jump from one room to another without touching the floor, and it's actually quite hard. No idea how they figured it out. There's literally no hints to it. But the really big puzzle is this thing called the bunny mural. And the bunny mural is like a room you get to that essentially like has a picture of a bunny on it, which at surface level seems pretty shallow. Later on in the game, you discover that like there's a way to change that picture by using an item. But in that area, in that room, the bunny mural actually holds a deeper secret. So if you go off into the corner, you'll see like a square that has a bunch of random pixels on it. And essentially what that turned out to be was like an ARG puzzle. And what I mean by that is it's not like actual augmented reality, but the idea behind the puzzle was everybody's game will have a different piece of that puzzle. Not everybody's game, but 50 people essentially will need to get together to solve this puzzle. And the way that people figured this out was these two brothers were playing, and they're like, my game has a different piece than yours. And they're like, oh, that's weird. And then they went on Discord, the Animal Well Discord, which has been solving all of these kind of complex puzzles. And they figured out that everybody has different pieces of the puzzle. That's not the I can't go over and show you because I already solved the puzzle. That's not the only thing. All these pieces of the puzzle actually arranged to make a picture. So not only did 50 people have to find 50 different pieces of the puzzle, but they had to arrange it so that it made a picture. And that's only how you get one bunny. So that kind of showcases like the game at surface level, very simplistic, just a Metroidvania where you solve puzzles. But deeper at its core, like it has a number of different ways to solve different puzzles. Some which like you don't know. Like just by looking at the game, you wouldn't know. But as you play the game, you start to kind of discover, like, okay, like sometimes when I throw the top, certain areas of the level break. So I'm going to check every level area with the top or whatever. And I think that's part of what I love about the game, like kind of how it's left up to the player to solve these puzzles. One of the puzzles that someone solved was just they brute forced it and figured it out by trial and error. Like there's no real hints to it. But a lot of the puzzles do kind of give you some indication. But I love this game because like the communities kind of come together to solve these puzzles together and help each other. And that's really the way it was designed to be played. There's a little like there's smaller things in the game that I think are really cool. Like for example, if I was playing this on my Switch and I had it in handheld mode, if I touched the Switch, I could move these lanterns with it. But even on top of that, like if you were playing on the computer and you had it in window mode, you could move the window around and everything would sway with the window. There's also like literally a printer in the game that if your computer has access to the printer, it'll print something for you, which is actually part of a puzzle as well. So a lot of cool like intricacies. And you know what? Like I was loving it, the shallowness of it and like solving puzzles. And then as I kind of dug deeper, I was like, wow, like there's probably still puzzles in this game people haven't even solved. Like there's probably still mysteries that people haven't solved. But yeah, love it. Love the community. Like what a great game. What a big deal for big mode. Like, you know, Donkey's always on his YouTube channel saying that he knows video games and like saying that these games are bad and these games are good. So people are like really expecting this game to be good. And by God, it's good. Not that Donkey developed it, but he had the, you know, kind of vision to see the idea and be able to publish it and stuff like that. So really been enjoying it. I'm still playing it, even though I've completed it. I'm looking around because I unlocked something that allows me to kind of go around quicker. I won't spoil what that is. But yeah, it's been a great experience. Been loving it.
Nice.
It's only $30.
And it's also like it's also free on PS Plus Premium. And John, I know there are a lot of indie games coming out that you want to play, this being one of them. Where are you at with Animal
Well? So unfortunately for me, I'm on the side of like I've seen some spoilers just from watching TikTok and stuff. I really am into it. I've watched Donkey for a long time. Actually, Sean introduced me to him. Not personally, I wish. But, but yeah, no, I've seen some stuff from this game and everything just interests me about it. The music, the graphics, like the puzzle solving, and yeah, no, this is definitely on my list of games I want to play this year at some point. As of right now, probably not, but yeah, I'm definitely getting this one.
Nice. Mark, where are you at with it?
Just downloaded it, so yeah, no, it sounds like a lot of fun, really interesting. I do really appreciate how they made it's a single player game, but they also made it a community game as well. That's really cool, and like how it just, you know, brings all these people together to solve the puzzles. Yeah, it very, like you're saying, like very simple kind of like art style, you know, not trying to break any records there, but like still looks great. And I personally really like puzzles and platforming, so definitely piqued my interest. And yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can figure out some of these things.
Yeah, I'm not much of a puzzle guy myself. It's in the catalog. I think eventually when I have some time and I'm bored, I will give it a go. I will say it's impressive because going to like the developer, I forget the name of the developer, but it was
Batsto, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. But yeah, like didn't he work on this for 7 years and it was strictly by himself? That's impressive. Like that's a lot of hard work and dedication. And like Sean said, like props to Donkey for like finding him and like helping him get this out, and like sure the game could have released eventually without like Donkey, right? But like having somebody that significant to kind of like showcase it and put hype around it, I think got a lot more eyes on this game for the
For
better,
sure.
definitely. Anthony, where are you at with Animal Well?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of puzzle games. Not that generally they're not good games. I find them like so exhausting. I can do them and I can figure them out, but it's just I'd have to be like if I was unemployed, I might enjoy them more. But like I'm just generally too mentally exhausted to take on solving the puzzles, and I just find myself generally like hitting a wall, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna Google this, you know. And at that point, it kind of defeats the purpose of the game if it's intentionally supposed to be a puzzle to solve, right? So yeah, this game isn't for me, but it does look really cool, like the art style and the like just the general vibe that it has. Um, and the whole community thing does sound really cool. But yeah, not for me.
Any final thoughts, Sean, before we move on?
They have a physical coming out for limited run. And I'm gonna put that in my mouth. I'm gonna put the whole thing in my mouth.
Are you gonna
Ooh.
go with the Switch again for the physical, or are you gonna get like the PlayStation version?
I am very much so a collector of Switch games.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, I think that I like how conventional Switch games are, like how like I'll just try to stab. Like I like how all the spines kind of look similar. I do like when spines are more designed, but I like the way these look on the shelf because they're all kind of like uniform. And like it looks good. It looks like pleasing. It kind of reminds me of like old Sega Master System games. So I really like how uniform they are. So I'll probably get it on the Switch. I mostly so if I'm going to play a game, normally I'll buy it on PlayStation or PC, and if I'm going to collect it, if it's on Switch, I'll buy it on the Switch.
Nice. All right. Next up, we have Unicorn Overlord. Mark, tell us about your journey as an Overlord.
Well, as you all could probably tell from the title, it's a magical game filled with a bunch of unicorns, and you got to try and rule over the unicorn land. Uh, that's how it actually looks, though. The experience I've had with it, like I don't usually play like these tactic style games very often, and like when I do, it has to be like a very sort of like unique experience, and this one just tickled my ADHD all the right places for this. It's it's not a difficult game to learn, but you can get rewarded very heavily for diving deeper into the details of it all. It's like how the combat works. It's not like a turn-based or anything like that. Like how the combat works, you get like sort of a formation where it's like three in the front, three in the back, and then you can place your troops accordingly. So like you can put your tanks in the front row, put like the mages and archers and stuff in the back row to help sort of like deal the extra damage and whatnot. And as I'm sure you'll both see in a second, how the fighting works. So all the attacks and everything are like pre-planned and stuff like that. So like each character has their own initiative order, and then like the one with the higher number goes first, and then second one, and then each character has their own like action points and like passive points. And then you can, once you unlock more actions and passive ability and get the like more points for them, then you can start like assigning different skills. So like this skill is priority number one, and it will only activate, let's say it's like something if to deal with air. So then this skill will only activate if an aerial unit is present. So then when the battle starts, if there's an aerial unit, it will use that attack. If there's no aerial unit, it'll go to the next in the priority list, and it'll deal that attack instead. So like it has a very unique way of being able to kind of customize your battles and whatnot. And the maps and stuff like that, you get to control your armies. You got to push them through, and you can see each person has their own little number above their unit. That's how much like stamina they have to attacking. And then if they run out of stamina, then you either have to set them on a control point or you have to have them rest. And if an enemy attacks them while they're resting, they get like an advanced first strike on your guys, and it hurts quite a bit. But yeah, it's been a very unique experience, and the story is pretty fun to go along with. And I played another game. We talked about it the other day. I can't remember what it was called. Uh, was it you, Anthony, who mentioned it?
Like one of their previous titles.
Yeah,
Oh, like Dragon's Crown or Odin Sphere, is that?
Odin Sphere. Yeah. So I played Odin Sphere, and like the art style they're pretty much the exact same between the two. And like honestly, I really enjoy that kind of art style because like it's simplistic but also kind of complex, if that makes sense. And it's just a fun to look at. Great game, good story, and just been enjoying it very much so far. And definitely am going to try and platinum it. And I will see this one all the way through because I still have not platinum Stellar Blade.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, this is definitely something that would be most up my alley. Like we talked yesterday, I did play. I didn't play all of the 5 hours of the demo. Eventually, I'll go back and finish it. But I think I played like the first hour or so. But I really enjoyed what I played of it so far. But it's one of those games where, like Stellar Blade, I'm just gonna wait for a sale because I just don't have the time currently to like get it full price and really justify it and all that. But that being said, yeah, like this game, just ever since we first like saw it, like when we were doing the draft, like it ticks so many of like the boxes that I love from like tactic style games. Like you said, the art style is really charming. I think yeah, like it's definitely something I want to grab for sure eventually. Uh John, where are you at with Unicorn Overlord? Overlord.
It's it's not what I expected. I was expecting like a colorful, magical unicorn filled game, but like seeing it now, uh, the thing about tactical games with me is they really have to like set themselves apart from other tactical games. So, um, this one does add enough and make things look extremely different and interesting. So I'd be willing to give this one a try. I'm on the same boat as you. I'd definitely wait for like a sale or something. Um, just same thing as you. Like I don't have the time for it, and I've got a lot of games in my backlog, and I got Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake coming out, so that's gonna keep me busy for a while. But yeah, no, somewhere down the line, eventually, I'm going to pick this one up for sure.
Nice. How about you, Sean? Where are you at with Unicorn Overlord? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm interested. I'm really into tactics games. I'm a really big Fire Emblem fan. I think this game looks amazing. It looks great. Definitely something I'm going to buy. I'm kind of debating whether or not I'm going to pick it up on something portable if it's on the Switch, just so I could play it kind of on the train. But it looks good. I like the system. You can kind of see it before I kind of switch screens. How it kind of looks like you have like a little, like you could tack characters together. As that one character was healing and the other one was attacking. So that looks great. The question mark: Does it have? Is there permadeath?
There's no permadeath. Like if your unit gets knocked out, then pretty much they're just out for that sort of match. But like you get items to revive your units and stuff like that. And to go on what you're saying, so like that's kind of like the priority thing. So like the one character was the healer. So then like one of her like base things is like if a character gets hit, her passive will automatically go off right after that character gets hit to heal them, or at the end of battle it'll go off to just try and heal whoever's the most hurt and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm a big fan of permadeath, so I was hoping there would be some. Maybe there's like something you could add on or something. But yeah,
Maybe.
it looks great. I love tactics games, and definitely I need to scratch that itch. I've been playing a lot of RPGs this year, so definitely having that like transition and stuff. Same boat as everybody else. Like, don't have a ton of time, which is why I'd probably prioritize buying it so for something to play on the train. But definitely something that looks good. Definitely in my backlog. Gonna wishlist it right after this on Steam, just in case it ever goes on sale, because I'll pick it up regardless if I have time or not. But yeah, looks awesome.
Did this release on Switch as well? Because that is something you could probably play on the
I would
chain.
imagine that it would. This seems like a game that would fit perfectly on the Switch.
Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
think it came out on Steam actually, right?
Oh, really?
If I
Oh,
remember correctly. Because I remember I was like looking in. I think I was looking into it because I was considering picking it up for like the Asus ROG Ally, but yeah, I don't recall it being on the Steam shop.
yeah. It's not. It's just Switch, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox Series X and S.
Okay, interesting. All right, Anthony, does this catch your eye at all?
A little bit, yeah. At first, with the label of some form of tactics, I had no interest, but the art style definitely interests me. And just the explanations Mark was giving us the other day, along with what you were saying today, Mark, and what we saw on Sean's screen there, it does have my interest a little bit. And the fact that there is like a 5-hour demo available definitely means I will check it out because I can do it for free. So I'll probably reserve my judgment until I check that out. But it does intrigue me at least a little bit. And I did play the hell out of Dragon's Crown and Odin Sphere. I don't even know how to say the word, Lost Feratu or something. Because I know the original Odin Sphere was like PS2. I never played that one, but the one that was like on Vita and PS4. I really like that game. Though very different games, the art style is kind of similar. So, like Mark was saying, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna add that to my download list and maybe check it out sometime this coming week. As far as the if I am interested in it after the demo, though, I'm probably in the same boat where I'll wait for a sale because too many games.
Too many
I
games.
know, I know we say that every week, but every week it's still true.
Every week,
Well,
more games freaking come out.
yeah, the good news is it carries your save file over from the demo. So literally wherever you end at in the demo, when you buy it, you just carry on right from where you left off. So
Nice.
like that's nice. And like the another thing that I forgot to mention is like the variety of units. Like there's 90 different actual like named characters that you can recruit to use. And then like the because like I just went through the first area, like you get like your archer, mercenary, griffin rider, stuff like that, and like the next area I'm in, like there's other versions of like the knights where they're like a dark knight sort of thing where the knight excels in just being kind of like high damage all the time. The dark knight excels the more it gets hurt, the more damage it does. So like it kind of can change up a strategy in sort of like how you put your teams together. And then like I also from that same area I got wyvern riders. And then like the next area I'm going to after that is like elven stuff. So then I'll get like elven archers and stuff like that. And they'll have their own special perks over like the regular archers. So like definitely a large variety that you can do.
It does kind of like a lot of the systems that we saw and like just the idea of all these different characters. To a degree, like I've even though I generally have the like view of like mobile gaming generally is not great in current day. There's so many different forms of like these gacha games that are like hero collectors and stuff. And there's some that I played that the combat in this and like the systems kind of remind me of it. And that may sound like I'm saying like a negative, but I really enjoyed that aspect of those games. It's just what took away from it was to get all these heroes, you either had to grind for months or pay real money. Whereas in this case, there's a whole game built around it where you can go out there and it sounds like go and recruit these characters in game. And with the budget behind it, like it just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, either way, I am going to check it out. So we'll see what I think. Maybe I'll have something to say next week about the demo.
All right, Mark,
You
any
better.
any final thoughts before we move on?
Stick it in your mouth.
All right.
Put it right in there.
Yeah. Melts are going to be full by the end of this episode. All right. Next up we have Marvel Rivals. Sean, tell us about it.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals is a lot of fun. I didn't sign the contract, so I can talk poorly about it, but I actually don't have anything bad to say about it. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. Like the time I've had with it has been great. The selection of characters, like the roster, is pretty cool. There are a lot of similarities between it and Overwatch. I don't understand why they kind of embargoed that you couldn't compare the two, because there are obvious comparisons to be made. Like a lot of the roster is very like for example, Star-Lord plays very much like a kind of amalgamation between Tracer and Soldier 76, whereas Punisher's kind of in the same boat, but he has the ult of one of the newer characters. Spider-Man and Black Panther very much play like a Genji character. But one of the cool things that it doesn't happen in Overwatch that I think is pretty cool is something like the team up abilities. So in the trailers, we've seen a lot of like the idea of the team up abilities. One that they've showed off is the team up ability between Rocket Raccoon and Groot, where I don't know why, but all of our characters are invisible right now. There we are. Rocket Raccoon and Groot, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, where he can climb up on his shoulders and shoot from there. There's a couple of other ones, like Rocket Raccoon can provide infinite ammo for the Punisher upon dropping something. But my favorite is Magneto and Scarlet Witch. So their team up is essentially like, so Magneto's base attack is kind of like this. It's actually not very good. Magneto is not very good to play, to be honest. Like I'm hoping they buff him. But with Scarlet Witch's buff, I'll give you kind of an example here when I go out. This is all AI, so it's not like anything's on the line. But his base attack doesn't do a ton of damage. Like it's pretty squishy. Like, come on, let me shoot you. That's what I say when I'm playing online. I'm like, hey, let me shoot you. So it doesn't do a ton of damage, but then you activate the Scarlet Witch team up, and you're just dropping people left and right. Like it's pretty beefy. Like there's a pretty significant. It's not doing much to Groot because he's a tank character. But been really enjoying it. I've been really enjoying the alpha test. There hasn't really been any hiccups. There is right now because I'm playing on my main computer, where I've been kind of playing this on my work computer quite a bit because it is a stronger PC. And can't wait for the full release. Like I can't wait for them to add more characters to the roster to see how they play. The community has been very good. Like people have been very supportive. Not a lot of toxicity thus far. I think it's because a lot of people who are playing are on the alpha test. And I've seen a little bit of like the leak list of people who are coming out. Hopefully they add some more X-Men. I did see on that list that they might be coming out with Venom. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far. There is in the closed alpha network test, there are some unlockables that are permanent. Most things are not. But there are few things you can get permanent. I think one of the coolest things is that between I think 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, if you're playing, you have a chance to face off against a developer in quick match. And if you do that, you unlock a special spray if you defeat them. So I think that's pretty cool. But really enjoying it. Can't wait for the full release. Who knows when it's coming out? It's in alpha now, so it probably won't even come out till next year. Because I got to level 10, I do have access to the beta automatically, so that's pretty sick. But yeah, I don't have a bad thing to say about it. I don't know, it's funny because they did that embargo thing, and they're saying like people can't talk poorly about the game, but people are loving it. Like I don't understand why they did that. Like they created this bad kind of toxic atmosphere by doing that between the developer and the people who make the game, or the people who are playing the game. And I don't really understand it because so far what I've heard, like people are really enjoying the game. I don't know if that's because of the embargo, but people are really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait for the full release. And one of the coolest things is like, yes, costumes in Overwatch are really cool. But as a huge comic nerd and like MCU nerd and cartoon nerd, like I love that the costumes are primarily pulled from that. Like right now I'm wearing like Magneto's uncanny outfit, so the black and the white and the purples, like I love it. So it's been really good. Been having a lot of fun.
Nice. I'm actually gonna throw it next to you, Anthony. Like even though like this typically isn't your kind of thing, I'm kind of curious. Like with you getting more into shooters like over the years, and then this having Marvel characters, do you think this is something you'd give a try?
Well, I actually watched Sean stream for a couple hours the other day, and it does look really cool. And like I was asking Sean a lot of questions. Like a big one for me that he answered was like, how's the accuracy? Like when you're shooting at a guy, like I guess in Destiny terms, like aim assist, I guess, might be equivalent to what I'm asking. And he said it's pretty forgiving. Like it doesn't require to be like some massive professional FPS or third person shooter player to be able to shoot someone, which is kind of where I fall in. Like without the aim assist on Destiny, I probably would be terrible, right? So that alone, I think, knowing that, I'm confident I would be able to try this game and not just experience frustration. So there's that, and then just like the abilities that some of the that they were using, like uh, when Sean, I think he took the liberty of trying a bunch of different characters while I was watching because I was asking about them, and a lot of them look really cool. Some of them clearly are a little more powerful than others. Like Sean just wrecking dudes with Star Lord was awesome. Um, I was telling this to Sean, like this looks like something I would be willing to try, because the logistics of it, it's not like a Call of Duty jump into like a team deathmatch and it's just cut and dry, run around shooting. Like traversal is a clear, like important mechanic in this game, which, as you know, all of you actually know, in Destiny, traversal is just as important as the gunplay, right? And I love Destiny, right? So even though it's not first person, it's third person, and it's purely PvP, I'm willing to give it a try. I don't know. I guess we don't really know what it'll look like when it releases. Like if it's going to be some sort of free to play model or like a purchase.
Yeah, it is. It is free to play.
Oh, it will be free to play. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So even like there you go. Then like, there's no reason for me not to try this game, especially like from now till that release. Like I'm sure I'll just have more experience in the world of PvP between now and then, on top of what I've already have in the last like couple months with Destiny. So and like enjoying it anyways, because as you know, Chris, before those recent bouts of trials, like I do the PvP for the weapons, but like I just hate my life the whole time. But the last few times it was pretty enjoyable. So yeah, I definitely am going to check it out then if it's free to play.
And now I'm going to throw it to you, John, because I know you really dug like Overwatch. You were big into it, and I can't remember if you sunk a lot of time into two. But like, what are your thoughts for Rivals and all that?
Being a big Overwatch fan, I am extremely excited for Rivals. I did sit and watch Sean play quite a bit of it during his stream. Um, the thing about Rivals that I like the most is that the hype for new characters is going to be a lot more exciting, in my opinion, than the hype for new characters in Overwatch, because these are already like established characters. Um, yeah, for example, like you're a big fan of Venom. I wouldn't know how to tell that, but um, uh, so yeah, like you could yeah yeah you could
All
clearly
18 inches.
yeah, so the excitement for new characters is completely justified. Also, the thing I liked about Overwatch was like I consider myself to be good at Overwatch. In no way am I good with every character, but you can find what like fits for you, and you find a character that you're good with and you stick with that character or role. I mean, like there are plenty of people that are like good at all tanks, but there are people that are like say, "Oh, I'm good with Winston, but I'm not good with Reinhardt." That's another thing that excites me about this game is because it seems like the character roster is a lot bigger. There's a lot more options. Um, only for it to get even bigger, like given time, and the free to play element of it. It's like it's just a win win. I can't wait for this game to hit open beta at least.
Woohoo. Mark, where are you feeling with Marvel Rivals?
Honestly, game looks like a lot of fun. I did enjoy Overwatch when I played it, and like this, like just seeing all this gameplay going on right now, like it does look like a ton of fun. Just a bunch of like get in there, throw a bunch of powers around to see what happens, sort of deal. And like being able to play the different roles and do different supports and stuff like that has always been fun. Yeah, like it, and you know what? It's my favorite price for a video game, absolutely free. So I would be remiss if I did not pick it up. I will definitely be doing so to give her a try once it is released, and yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything bad to say about it so far from seeing just this gameplay going on.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm super excited to eventually try it when I can. As what's been echoed, I honestly don't know who I'd like to see as a DLC character. You know, nobody immediately comes to mind. No, you know, just leave it there. Yeah,
I'm guessing it's Carnage, Chris, right?
Is it
go
the
ahead.
kangaroo from
Kangaroo
Spider-Man?
Jack. It's
Or
Kangaroo
Simeon?
Jack. But no, yeah, I love to see Venom in the game. Obviously, the signs that like it looks like it's gonna happen is very cool. Obviously, I'd like to see Gambit eventually in the game. I think he'd be a great character to play as. Is Deadpool in the roster right now or no?
No.
Okay, Deadpool's another one I think would be. I honestly could see them lining up Deadpool with the Deadpool Wolverine movie or something like that. Although obviously, like they'll still be technically. I don't know like where they'll be at by the time that comes out, but because that's soon. Yeah, I'm excited to eventually play it. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, they need to nerf Star-Lord. He's so OP. Like just I don't know if you guys were watching, like I was just
watching.
wrecking their entire team the whole time. Like I think there's a couple like that's one of the issues is like it's not a very well balanced game right now, which isn't like, you know, the end of the world because it's just an alpha. But hopefully they balance it a little bit more because like when I'm playing as Magneto, if Scarlet Witch is on, I'm doing pretty well. If Scarlet Witch is not available, like it's just trash. And a lot of characters are like that. Like Storm is not very good. Like she's more of a character to use for buffs, but even then, it's kind of like subpar. So hopefully there's a little bit more balance coming out of this, and I think there will be. Like that's why they're asking for feedback and stuff like that. But they're only asking for positive feedback. So yeah, definitely gonna put it in my mouth, even though it's probably just gonna be digital. I'll find some way to create an avatar of myself, putting it in my mouth.
All right. So next up, we have another Crab's Treasure. So I ended up picking this up because the regular it's $39.99, and I had $10 worth of like the PlayStation Stars reward like credit to turn in. So I decided like I'll give it a go because I had fun like back in the day with Elden Ring, and like I haven't really given much other Souls likes a chance. So this one seems kind of cartoony, fun, silly. I've genuinely been really enjoying it. I haven't gotten too far into it. I've beaten the first two story bosses and then another boss that just kind of roams a specific area in the world. It's really fun. I've unlocked a bunch of stuff already. You can get like a fishing line that's a grappling hook. You get spells. You get different shells with like different abilities. Like the shell I've been using is a soda can, and like the ability it does is like it creates like carbonated bubbles that like float up and then attack like your enemies. It's like really simplified like Souls like combat. You got your dodge rolls, you can eventually unlock parries and stuff like that. I'm super surprised. I did not expect to be having as much fun as I did with it. There's like a funny moment in the game where you're talking to a character who's like introducing you to your like skill trees, and your character is just like, oh, oh, how do I upgrade it? And then the character just goes, "Damn it, let me finish." Sorry, and then
did
just
you
but yeah, it's I highly recommend it. Like it's the times I have spent into it, even though some of the bosses have been like a little challenging. Like, granted, like I'm not like totally expertised in like Souls like games. It's been rewarding when I've like beat like a couple of the bosses and all that. Sean, you played a bit on the Switch, but you're having performance issues. Where are you at with the game?
Hey, let's not talk about my performance issues on a podcast. That's between myself and my wife's. Yeah, I've downloaded it on the Switch once again. Like, I actually like was in Toronto when I downloaded it, and I figured I'd be playing it on the train coming back. So I downloaded it on the Switch. There are a couple of like performance issues on the Switch, especially when you're playing in handheld mode. So I was enjoying it. I was thoroughly enjoying it. They are working on a patch. Like this is no kind of down talk to the developers. Like I think they put together a really great game. They just kind of have to tweak it so it performs better on the Switch. I'm gonna pick it up on my PlayStation to play it because I think that'll just be a better experience. And I've Paper Mario to play on the train, so I should be okay. And Unicorn Overlord now. So yeah, it was fun. Like I like the idea of having a Souls like game that doesn't take itself too seriously. You're able to have a little bit of fun about it. I think the moment where it like really clicked with me, which was something really small, was like there's a popsicle stick in the sand, and it said, "Why did the lobster blush?" And then as it came forward, it was like, because he pissed himself. And I was like, that's so hilarious. Like subverting it. If you don't know, the actual joke is because he saw the ocean's bottom. So having that kind of like subversion of humor was really funny. And like the combat feels really good. Even on the Switch where I was having performance issues, like the combat feels really good, kind of natural, kind of like any other Souls like you've played. And the story is hilarious. Like a shark takes your shell, not even a real shark. It's like one of those like toys that you squeeze and it like opens and flaps its mouth. So I thought that was hilarious. I've been watching a lot of gameplay. I've actually been following this game on TikTok for quite a bit, and it is a bit of a passion project. They had me sold, like I was already sold like this crab game that's a Souls like, and then they did an April Fool's joke where they're like, we added Dark Souls mode, and then they were like, fuck it, and Orlando. And so I really enjoyed that, and that kind of sold it for me. But I'm really happy for the devs. Like they seem to be really enjoying the success that they so well deserve. And really excited to actually get a chance to dive into it after I'm finished Stellar Blade and Paper Mario, of course.
John, where are you at with another Crab's Treasure? Like, I know you haven't played it, but how are you feeling on it?
Big Dark Souls fan, so I would definitely enjoy this. One thing nobody is talking about is that sick boss music that they play.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't.
that slaps.
Yeah, yeah. I wish we could play it right now. Actually, the cool thing about that is, people have been using it for TikToks, and there's been a lot of like memes with people like dancing to it and stuff. And the developers actually responded to that meme saying like, look, we are cool with you using our music. Like use our music. Like we are not in it for the music. We're in it for like our like our players. Like use our music, dance to our music, like our music. And I just think that's really cool for a developer to, not be Nintendo uh, about it. Um yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to picking this one up eventually. I know I keep saying that to every single game. Eventually, I'll pick it up. Um, but yeah, no, this one I'm especially excited for just because of from what I've seen, like a bright, colorful Souls like a little bit different. It looks like a lot of fun though, for sure.
Mark, I'm curious, is this something you're going to eventually check out?
Yeah, I mean, like the list just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. I was saying, like these games keep on coming out, and just like even if they come out from left field, and it's just like, well, that's on the list now. Hopefully, I can find time to play it eventually. Yeah, I just got to put the priorities on certain things, and hopefully, I can get around to playing them. But like, yeah, it looks fun. All the clips I've seen of it looks like it's just a fun game. Like those, like I've seen a few of those joke popsicle stick clips, and like it's just so funny. 'Cause you're saying it's like, oh, it's a setup to this classic joke, and then it just pulls out the rug on you on it. Another thing that I enjoyed, I think it's just like someone said it's like an accessibility mode or something like that, where like if someone doesn't want the extra challenge, they can just make their shell a gun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So like I do appreciate that. They're like, oh, you just want to enjoy this game for whatever? Okay, your shell's now a freaking 9mm. Go nuts. Which is very cool. Yeah, it's the gameplay play looks fun. I do like the like different shells give you different things. So it ticks all the boxes for what I think would be an enjoyable game. So one of these days I will get my shell on.
Now, Anthony, I'm curious. You're definitely not a Souls-like person, but do you think this would be the game that you would kind of like test the waters with? I guess pun intended, unfortunately, but
Probably not. Like, it looks what do I have? So just you guys talking about like all these like funny moments, all the jokes and stuff. That's something I can appreciate, but probably through like seeing clips online. It's not enough to like push me to overcome my disinterest in like the general Dark Souls type genre or whatever you'd call it. Um, so yeah, I probably won't be checking this one out, but I'm sure as you know, our phones are always listening. After tonight, I'll probably start seeing a lot of on it. So
100%.
Wait, our phones are always listening?
yeah,
Oh God, I gotta go.
even our toasters.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this game, because me and Sean ended up messaging each other after I started playing it, and like even like something for you, John, is like you have that Souls like game, but in a really cartoony way that like you could play with your son. Like obviously, like he wouldn't be able to play it, but like you can enjoy the experience together compared to like traditional Souls like experiences.
You don't know that.
I mean,
Eli plays Elden Ring.
You don't know that.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, there's a lot of like silly stuff to appreciate. Like I like how your magic is called MSG. I find that really awesome.
That's
Um,
funny.
I
I haven't heard that.
I love when you go to fight a boss, when you do the lock on, the screen changes, it becomes like widescreen, like cinematic, almost like a showdown. And it's just like a really small detail that I think just like adds to a little bit of the intensity of like the battles sometimes. But yeah, some of the shells I found are pretty funny. I found a banana peel, soda can, bottle cap. But yeah, no, it's definitely a good game. I definitely recommend shoving it in the mouth. Yeah, all
Yum, yum, yum,
right. Moving on to Stellar Blade. Sean, you've been rocking that Stellar Blade. Tell us how it's been going.
Yeah, I love Stellar Blade. Like, I've been having a lot of fun outside of like, I think a lot of people when they see this game at face value, they're just kind of thinking of like the sexuality of it, but the gameplay is really smooth. The combat's a lot of fun. Like, it feels so good to have a perfectly timed dodge or block. Like, and honestly, like out of all the Souls games I've played, I did transition. I honestly think it's a really good. I wouldn't say it's too much of a Souls like sure there's that level of difficulty. There's a lot of like differences between general Souls likes like compared to this game. I haven't really found it to be all that difficult thus far. I think I just finished the sewer. And I'm going on to the desert, the Great Desert or something like that. And I haven't found it to be too difficult. I'm loving all the collectibles and the costumes and stuff, really enjoying exploring the world. I don't have a bad thing to say about the game. Like, there's nothing. Usually, when I'm playing a game, like, there's probably one or two things that I wish were better. But this game's perfect. Like, it has good music, it has good battles, it has good graphics. Like, the world is fun to explore. The atmosphere is good. Like, I really don't have a bad thing to say about it. To the point where I'm actually taking my time with it and enjoying it. I'm not just rushing through it so I can play another game. I'm kind of soaking it all in. It's one of those games where it's like, sometimes when I'm playing it, like Animal Wild was really enjoying it, was really sucked into it. But at one point I was like, all right, I'm just gonna watch YouTube while I collect all the eggs or whatever. Like this game, even when I'm just collecting, like I have my headphones on, I'm listening to the music and I'm just having a good time. So they really knocked it out of the park. And if you haven't had a chance to play it, do it. Because I would put this in. I had a physical copy. It's gone. I swallowed it.
Damn. Anthony, I know you haven't been able to play it all week. You've been busy and all that. I kind of want to ask mindset wise, like, have you been like craving it? Have you been missing it?
It's an interesting relationship because I have fun with the game. I'm not the greatest. I know Sean was saying like it has some similarities to the Soul genre, but um, but not like completely. So I can't really identify what's there. But obviously, to some degree, the difficulty aspect is one of them. I am like this does give you an option for an easier difficulty, but even that one I do find some trouble at times. Um, so it's almost like I enjoy the art. I enjoy the main character's visuals and the outfits. Um, so I've been kind of like pushing my own boundaries with like a game that poses this level of difficulty. So while Sean says he is intentionally approaching it as like, taking his time and stuff, I'm basically doing the same thing, but it's more so because I want to fully enjoy my experience, and I could sit down and I probably could find time to do like a 5 hour session of it or something like that. But unfortunately, if I tried to do that, I would start to get frustrated about halfway through that. And I want to walk away from my experience with this game being positive, and it's been working so far. Where I just do like 2 or 3 hour sessions, or complete like the one you go into like this relic thing underground. I won't say much about it, but I made sure I finished what I was doing before I moved on. Um, and it's been working great because I walk away at the end of my session having a great experience, and then when I come back, I'm looking forward to what to go on to next, rather than just trying to continue to play just because I have the time to sit down and do it. Whereas something like Destiny, where it's like the game's never ending, right? So if I have time to game and I can sit down and game it, I'm not going to walk away frustrated. Um, but it's been really fun. The boss fights are awesome. I actually like the boss fights quite a bit. Where the difficulty for me comes in is like the general exploration of when you encounter 3 enemies or more. That's where my spike of frustration can sometimes come in. But it's weird because like sometimes I'll pull up group of like 4 enemies, and like not just like the weak ones that you can like on the easy difficulty. There's weak ones where you can like teleport charge at them and then hit them right away and then they're dead. But I'm talking guys that are more chonky, right? Where sometimes I'll approach this group, I'll go in, I'll pull off some dope combos, some perfect parries or blocks, take them all out, don't get hit once. But then the exact same scenario like an hour later, and I just get decimated. So it's it just shows how much the game relies on skill to to play the game to some degree, which I don't most games do, but generally there's gear leveling like there's a lot of games you can force your way through by grinding, right? Whereas I know there's abilities in this game and like some armor gear you can equip, but you do have to learn the combos and get good at timing and stuff. So the outfits and the fact that the main character is hot has what helped me put in the time to get good, rather than like other games where I'm just like, oh, I have to actually like sit here and like die constantly to like get better. No, thank you. So, my overall impressions have been really good. It's just a slow burn, which I don't mind. It works out too, just timing with like lots of stuff going on in Destiny leading into Final Shape. So I don't feel like I'm losing like the sense of FOMO that Destiny likes to instill in its player base. I don't necessarily have that while trying to finish this game because I'm just taking baby steps. You know.
Nice, nice. Well said. Well said. Mark, you alluded to earlier that you kind of gave up on the platinum. Like,
Not necessarily gave up. It's just like once I started actually going through the whole thing again, is like luckily with the in order to get the platinum trophy, I don't need to do all the side stuff again on the playthrough. I can just ignore everything and just do a straight sprint through the game. But like the first experience through it, as like both of them were saying, like it's the visuals, the audio, the combat, like everything was so good. So I just kind of decided that I was going to just do a nice little refresher on something else for a little bit, which is why then I started playing Zao, well, the Tales of Kinzera. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this Overlord game. I'm probably not gonna like it. And I'll go back to the Kinzera, and now I've been up every day of the week till 5 a.m. playing Unicorn Overlord. So it's going to be something that I'm going to put on the back burner until like I find I'm like, there's nothing else I want to play, so I can like give some time so I can reappreciate the story again.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, like sometimes it's hard to double back, and well, not like hard, but it's just like when there's other enticing things out there, right? Like
Yeah.
to experience, it's hard to be motivated to double back for that. So that's totally fair. John, you're in the same boat as me, as like we haven't played. Eventually, we'll play on a sale. Anything to say in Stellar Blade?
Yeah, I can't wait to pick up Dark Souls meets Nier Automata meets Final Fantasy 16. It looks good. I don't have a whole lot to say about it right now because I've already talked about it a couple times.
Oops.
Can't wait to
Yeah.
put her in my
Yeah.
mouth. I mean,
What?
what?
Put the thing put the
So moving.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Sean? Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Put it in your mouth.
Hi, what is not Murtaugh, the other guy, Danny Glover.
Put it in your mouth.
Wait, what did you say?
Put it in your mouth.
Okay, I thought you were gonna actually quote him. I was gonna say I'm too old for this shit.
He does say that.
He does.
When Murtaugh holds the gun to his head, he comes up to Murtaugh and he goes, "Put it in your mouth."
Oh fuck! I haven't watched that movie in forever. All right. Moving on.
Oh man.
Good old classic Destiny 2. Anthony, you start us off with this one.
It's a great game. Yeah, I've just been grinding the new weapons. We did some Pantheon grinding the other day. We actually managed to, like, you know how we only beat the first encounter that 1 week that we all were there. So the 1 week it was a very last minute thing. We ended up with like 5 people, and we're like, let's just try and only beat the first, like just literally do the first encounter over and over again. So we spent a while doing it till like everyone kind of got comfortable, and we actually managed to beat it. And then, as you know, things go in most games, like the more you're doing the same thing over and over, you just get more and more proficient. So we did it for what, maybe like 3 hours. So by the end of it, we were able to do like pretty clean runs, like two or three phases, something like that. So we grinded the King's Fall weapons, which is what was dropping from that first encounter. And then we do have a group planned for tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. And honestly, like, it'd be great to walk away with like an emblem from completing one of the Pantheon difficult like options. But at the end of the day, I just want the weapons, you know. So even if we complete it, if we just get, you know, 1 or 2 in, or if say if we're like, you know, we're hitting a wall, let's just go and grind the first encounter a bunch again. The weapons are where it's at. So we'll see how it goes when the time comes. But yeah. So that's, I don't have. I could go up into more of like a lot of the stuff we've been seeing leading into Final Shape, but maybe I'll talk about that next week. Keep it light.
Yeah, like this week I ran a bunch of Onslaught. Like the grind to try to get those shinies is just super addicting, especially with the
Yeah.
window getting shorter. And then we did end up running the Tuesday night. They dropped Outbreak, the Outbreak mission. So we did the regular, and then we did the clear. Or no, we didn't do the clear on Legend because
We had 2 minutes.
yeah,
left
they've added some
there.
things, Mark. they've added some things, but yeah, no, like it was just fucking really nice to revisit Outbreak. It was funny, like we loaded into the regular version, and like I didn't like look up any videos to get refreshed on it, and we just started going, and like everything just came back to me, like the pathway that me and you, Mark, we knew that thing like the back of our fucking like hands. Like we farmed that
I
so
could just
much.
close my eyes and run through that first section.
Yeah, it was just like it was so nice just to be able to revisit it. And like as to what Anthony said with the Pantheon thing, yeah, I think the unfortunate most apparent thing was you really need like the god roll shit. You need like the good builds and shit. So like I think what worked for like that 5-man group was everyone that was playing heavily this season, and through Onslaught like refined really dope builds to like make those processes smoother. But I'm hopeful tomorrow will go well. I think it should go well. Like everyone's who's like it's me, Mark, Anthony, Chad, Alex, and Mike. We've all been playing heavily this season for the most part. We all have really good loadouts, really strong builds. We're comfortable with like the encounters. There's obviously some changes to certain things, but yeah, no, I think it'll go well. The one thing I'm most excited to see, obviously we won't be doing it, but after seeing the change they did for Valve the Disciple this week for Pantheon, where they added in a second Rulk during DPS phase, I'm
really
genuinely curious next week when they add in the Riven fight and the Nezarec fight, what they throw into that to make it different. Like
I can answer what they're going to add in for the Riven fight. They're adding in you have to actually do it.
100%.
You have to actually do the mechanics.
I wonder if they would throw like Hive Guardians in during the Riven fight or something like that.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, no, just another fun week of just spending too much time on Destiny. Mark, did you hop on Destiny at all this week? I can't remember.
No, I need to do my last little push to get my Super Black, which I'm either going to do before we all meet up tomorrow or Monday. We'll see. See if I can find the time. But yeah, I haven't done anything this week. The Unicorn Overlord has been sapping all my attention, so that's been on the main focus. But I am excited to try our hand at the Pantheon again tomorrow and just see what we can get. Just make it happen.
John, any thoughts on Destiny? Anything to say?
No.
No. All right. Sean, how about you?
No.
All right. Any final thoughts, Anthony, before we move on?
It's a good game.
Very, very well said.
Tis your
Well said.
destiny.
All right. Next up, we got some Sea of Thieves. We've been like we're trying to make it a weekly thing as long as our schedules like lines up to like run it each week. It's kind of been leaning on Wednesdays. Like that game is fucking like the experiences you can have in it. Like when me, John, and Sean started on Wednesday, when we got on our boat, like we immediately go out to the ocean, get attacked by ghost ship, attacked by a megalodon, then another ghost ship immediately comes, and then like another megalodon. Like there was a chaos. Our first like 45 minutes was pure fucking chaos, and we survived it, only to eventually like 20 minutes later get like hit by enemy players who took all our shit. So it's just like it went from feeling dope to just be like fuck. But we ended go ahead. We ended off on a good note though. We hit up that Mermaid Cove or whatever, and the Mermaid Cove was when like those guys stole our shit, right? It was like a shrine that we went to later. I don't know, it's just a fun game that it's just a blast to play with the bros, you know? Sean, where are you at with Sea of Thieves?
I love Sea of Thieves. Honestly, a game like I've played several horror games throughout my life. I'm a big horror game fan. Nothing scares me more than getting pulled into the water of Sea of Thieves. Even if there's nothing around, John is fighting a cat. Even if there's no, for the audio listeners out there, John just got in a physical altercation with a cat, and I think the cat won. Nothing scares me more than being in the water. Like even when there's nothing around, I get this like fear of like just dread, and it's because the water, for one, looks so realistic, but it's so deep. You don't know what's in there, what's coming to get you. Is it the Kraken? Is it a megalodon? But always fun to jump in with the boys. Like we've had so many like good experiences playing that game. I think the best experiences are like the ones you don't expect generally. Like, yeah, we go through like a pantheon of enemies right off the get-go, but there was like I think the week before, like this guy tricked us into thinking he didn't know what a quest was, and his plan was to like trick us and steal it. At the end, he didn't end up succeeding, but it's just like those funny moments of like, oh, I've been laying on your ship all this time, listening to you guys talk and everything, and then like jump out of nowhere and try to set you guys on fire, or like so many ridiculous things happen to the game. Like the game itself is fun. Playing by yourself is not nearly as fun as jumping in with like some of your friends. I would even say like playing as randoms is probably not as fun because it's just we get drunk, not IRL, but in game we get wasted and then we set sail. So we're like throwing up all over the deck. Like we can't even get up the stairs. I'm trying to steer the ship while I'm like wasted and stuff. Like it's just a great time.
Yeah, I don't know, Anthony and Mark, if you saw the clip I sent, but like Sean's character got drunk to the point of puking, and then he went inside of I don't know if this is the clip that I sent in the group.
No,
chat.
it isn't.
Oh,
It
okay,
isn't.
okay. But yeah. So he's like puking, and he climbs in the cannonball, and then from my perspective, I'm on the dock looking, and then I just see Sean's head sticking out of like the cannon, puking, just like a stream of like puke coming out of it. It was just fucking hilarious.
It's funny.
John, where are you at with Sea of Thieves?
I don't have a whole lot to say that hasn't been said by you guys. It is an absolute blast to play with you guys, not by myself. I've done that and just got bombarded with other players, and they're they're not fun. I did like exploring that little Siren Cove or Mermaid Cove thing. While we were down there, we discovered like a little pit, and in that pit, it was just like a variety of different puzzles that you had to do to like solve, like to get to the next area, find more treasure, get to the next area, find more treasure, and uh, just getting all that treasure. It was a ton too, and we just send it up. Chris would bring it back to the ship, and then I ended up. Was it me or you, Chris, that spotted the enemy players? I think it was me.
Yeah, I think
Can't
it was
remember.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
were up top. Yeah.
yeah. All of a sudden, we were like being bombarded with cannonballs, and I tried to defend it myself, but couldn't.
You also blew up
But
our mast.
That
I
was
brought us a treasure, and you guys didn't like it.
So,
You don't have to call it that.
for like full on context, like after we went through that pantheon, if you looked at our ship, it was like barely hanging on, and then at a certain point we just hear John go like, "Hey guys, look what I found," and then a big explosion, and then like we turn
Yeah.
and look, the mast has fallen down, like the boards of the ship are like blown up. Like I'm just like, John, like our thing looks so fucking destroyed right now.
In my defense, I thought R2 was to drop it. Unfortunately, R2 was to arm it, and I couldn't drop it off the ship fast enough. Which, yeah, it was a little disastrous, but it was a laugh. It was a good laugh.
Mark, where like I know like our schedules don't really line up, so you can't really join with us. But like thoughts wise, where are you at with Sea of Thieves?
Happy you guys are out there pillaging and looting. Make sure you have a beer for me and puke on somebody else for me, and pillage at least one ship every time you guys play in my honor.
I'll
Chris?
sell the game to everybody right now. There is a mechanic where you puke, but there is also a mechanic that so you have a bucket so you can bail water out of your ship. But you can actually puke in that bucket and then throw it at somebody.
I was literally just about to say that.
It's the best mechanic.
Anthony, how about you? Where are you at with Sea of Thieves?
Can you get like a bunch of buckets and preemptively fill them with puke and then invade a ship? Oh,
We can all puke in our own
Yeah.
buckets.
oh okay.
Yeah, like we could all hold a bucket and get drunk and puke in it, and then wait until it wears off, and then go on an enemy ship and just splash puke all over it.
Splash them. Can you just get drunk and invade a ship and just start puking on everyone?
No,
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. You can do anything in that game. anything.
Just remember
Can
to mute your mic when you go on an enemy ship,
Yeah.
which Sean unfortunately did not.
I was like, I'm gonna board this ship, not realizing that it's like open mic. And as soon as I boarded it, everybody's standing there at the rope with their guns out. And I'm like, oh,
I was boarding to say hello.
yeah.
Just want
I
to be
brought
friends.
treasure.
Yeah, I'll eventually pick it up once it's on sale. If you guys are still playing. Like you said, solo play not thing. I definitely don't think I would enjoy it solo. But if you are still playing when it goes on an initial sale, I'll pick it up. I'd be willing even to do like a 20% off or 15 even, depending. Like what's the full price right now? Like just the
Like
base
50 bucks.
50? Yeah, so like if it goes on for like 40.
If you actually want to play it, I'll just buy it for you.
If you pick it up,
No,
like
don't do that.
even if it's down the line, I'm still willing to play it. Like it's that good. Like it's that fun of a game. It doesn't lose its charm over time. Like as long as you're playing with other people, it's like fresh every time.
Well, no, yeah, it's
Chris and I've been playing it forever.
yeah, since the pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like it's a game where like I permanently want to have at least like one night a week of playing, just because it's as much as I love Destiny, it's just a nice different experience to throw into the week of just like you never know what the fuck is gonna happen in that game in the best way possible. All right. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Sea of Thieves before we move on?
Arr.
R matey.
I don't know if that sounded like me crunching or
It
me
did.
like clearing my snot.
So next up, this week we got a trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. This launches November 15th on Xbox Series XS, PS5, Ubisoft Plus, Epic Games Store, and Amazon Luna. Premium edition will include 3 days early access. Bear with me, I will most likely butcher some names coming up. Features Naoe, an adept shinobi assassin from the Iga province. Yazuke, the powerful African samurai from historical legend. It's against the backdrop of the turbulent late Sengoku period. This remarkable duo will discover their common destiny as they usher in a new era for Japan. Discover the captivating open world of feudal Japan, from spectacular castles and bustling ports to peaceful shrines and pastoral landscapes. Adventure through unpredictable weather, changing seasons, and reactive environments. As the quick-witted and agile Naoe use noise, light, and shadows to evade detection as enemies respond to their changing surroundings. Distract guards using kunai, shuriken, and smoke bombs, infiltrate bases with your grappling hook and parkour skills, and assassinate your targets with the hidden. As the charismatic samurai Yazuke, straight your forces or your foes with brutal precision and power. Uses combat-oriented skills to attack, block, parry, and defeat your enemies. Master the vast arsenal of weapons at your disposal, featuring katana, kanabo, bows, Najinata, and more to free Japan from its oppressors. You get to decide whether to play as the shinobi or samurai, master complete the complementary playstyles of the two fully realized protagonists, approach quests with whichever character you prefer, as each possesses their own respective progression, stats, skills, and gear. I'm going to throw this one to Mark first, actually. What are you thinking on this, Mark? Oh, you're muted.
Ah, there we go. I somehow hit the mute thing on my mic. I don't know how. Anyways, so I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a very long time, and honestly, like this one looks pretty cool. I might break the streak of not playing them for this one. Just depends. When's the release date for this again?
November 15th.
Got a lot of time to prepare for it then. Yeah, like it looks cool. I really enjoy like samurai and shinobi aspect. I think that's a pretty cool sort of world to bring it into. And like just because like adding that nice little assassins aspect, I think would be pretty fun. I definitely am interested and curious about the game, and looking forward to seeing more about it. I've heard some controversy and stuff online about it, but it's all pretty stupid, and I don't understand why, so I won't get into it. But yeah, I'm personally excited for this game. Yeah,
Which play style do you see yourself gravitating toward?
definitely like there. It is the shinobi is intriguing, but I think I would definitely go the samurai route.
Nice. All right, John, where are you feeling with this game?
Um, like I used to be a big fan of Assassin's Creed. Back in the day, like the older ones. I don't honestly know how I feel about this one, just because like I don't. I'm get. It's kind of like when zombies was the thing. Like every game was a zombie game coming out. That like I feel like we're in the era where every game that's coming out is like a samurai or ninja game, and I'm kind of like exhausted by that. I don't think honestly I don't think I can get into this one just because of that. Um, like not every game has to be a samurai or ninja game. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like historical characters and stuff, which is following Assassin's Creed suit, but I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel. I feel like I'll have to see more from this to actually like get a feel for it and see if I want to get into it or not.
No, that's definitely fair. Like, if you did play it, which play style do you think you would gravitate toward?
I would probably go with like Shinobi for sure.
Yeah, like I see what you're saying, but like at the same time, like it's one of the things where it's just like it's surprising in a way it took this long for Assassin's Creed to get this kind of a game, right? Because like the ninjas, like the shinobi stuff, or like just these elements like really fit well with the storytelling and the style, the fighting style of the Assassin's Creed games. So like it was always just like a matter of time. I know like they've been talking about this for like over a year at this point. It was like codenamed Assassin's Creed Red, I think, for a while. I'm very excited for it as somebody who played like Rise of the Ronin, Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't really experienced that burnout yet, and I'm like all for this. Um, I'm kind of torn on which one I want to go with in terms of play style because like I do like stealth, but at the same time, the samurai sounds like it could be kind of a bit of a powerhouse, and some of those fight encounters could be really fun. Yeah, I think it might be depending on like it seems like you might have the option to flow between the characters. I might go back and forth between the two and kind of experience both of their storytelling and stuff. So I'm interested in it. Anthony, where are you at with this?
Yeah, it definitely piques my interest. I am a pretty big fan of the Japan aesthetic, especially when we're talking like historical, whether they add fantastical elements or not, like just that period of time or whatever, like just the samurais, the shinobi thing is really cool. I'd probably play shinobi. Big factor is I generally just gravitate towards liking to play as women characters primarily. Not that I don't dislike playing as male characters, but I definitely go the shinobi route. Pretty much almost exclusively because it's a female. Because I think the idea of wielding a samurai sword is dope, but also like the assassin thing, right? So I will not be buying it at launch. Um, But luckily it's Ubisoft, so like 3 weeks later I can buy it for 50% off. So
That's very,
uh,
very true.
so yeah, like it'll go on sale probably within the first couple months, and it'll probably be a pretty reasonable sale for the most part, unless they suddenly change kind of how they do it. But um, it does look like just the footage we saw, like it looks insanely good, like graphic wise. Um, and yeah, as far as the discourse stuff, I don't. There's always a sliver of truth in the discourse, but then it gets convoluted and like inflated into like unreasonable levels. So like I don't know, I don't care enough to even dig through to find what's real and what's not. So I'm just gonna look at it and judge it based off that, and I don't care what other people are saying. So um, yeah, I haven't played any of the open world Assassin's Creeds really, besides my experience with the Ezio trilogy, which I didn't end up finishing. But I'd be willing to step into it. I don't have too much open world game time in, besides Last Ronin, um, which I think you guys were saying pretty much it was very Assassin's Creed esque, just the way the game was with the map and the exploration and stuff. So if I don't play anything open world by the time this releases, then I think I'd be more likely to step into it. But we'll see. I can't think of anything between now and then, though. It's coming out this year, you said?
Yep, in November.
That's crazy. When did we know about this game? Like, I know you're saying it was codenamed Red, but did this announcement come out of nowhere with them saying it was this year, or was that kind of an expected
It
thing?
I think it was like always flip flopping. Like people like thought it was like all speculation. As for how long they've been working on this, like if I remember correctly, we knew about this before we knew about Mirage. Like,
Oh, okay.
I remember hearing about both of them being rumored at the time. One of which being Code Red, which was like the next open world, and Mirage, which was like the back to basics approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, looks cool. I'll check it out at some point.
Sean, where are you at with this?
I love Mountain Dew, so yeah, I think I'll try the new Code Red flavor. Looks red. I like that color. Probably tastes like berries or something. So I'm definitely in to try new Mountain Dew Code Red.
Which flavor would you choose? Shinobi or Samurai?
Shinobi. But in all honesty, I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. And I'm getting up there in age. I think it's too late to start. So I'm kind of in the same boat too. I'm kind of like fatigued on feudal Japan video games. And when you've played the best of the best, it's kind of like why play the rest, So
what's the best in your
the
opinion?
best feudal Japan game? I really enjoyed Neo. You know what? That's a lie because there's a new feudal Japan game playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
out.
aren't you excited for a Black Myth Wukong?
Yeah, there's actually a bunch. But I was thinking about like Sekiro as the best of the best. I honestly, so I have no I'm not harboring any ill feelings towards Assassin's Creed. I remember watching a buddy play it, and I was like really like paint by the numbers, and I couldn't get into it. And then when they started going yearly release, I'm like, how much depth can they really add to a game that they release every year? And that kind of turned me off. I know people enjoy it and they say it's a good series, and I believe them. It's just one of those things where it's like, if I hadn't tried milk when I was a kid, would I drink it now? Probably not. The classic saying, if you haven't tried milk as a kid, would you drink it now? So yeah, new Code Red Mountain Dew, put it in your mouth. What was that face, Tony? What are you doing? Are you gooning?
I'm just tired.
Just think about milk. All right. Moving on. New Activision studio Elsewhere Entertainment has opened, headquartered in Poland. Additional resources in the U.S. Built from the ground up, Elsewhere Entertainment is a premier and standalone studio dedicated to establishing an environment that inspires bold and diverse ideas. The talented team at Elsewhere Entertainment consists of a collection of storytelling experts whose credits include The Last of Us, Uncharted, Witcher, Cyberpunk, Destiny, Tom Clancy's The Division, and Far Cry. And then obviously this was announced 1 week after Microsoft shut down 4 studios.
Yeah.
Closed 3, one got absorbed into another. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. What is going on at Microsoft? I would love to be in the minds of the people that make calls there. That's honestly all I really have to say, because I don't know, what is this going to do? Like I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. John, where are you at with this?
I've never heard of this movie.
It
It doesn't look like something that would interest me. It kind of looks like The Notebook.
It looks like a movie cover. It
But
does.
it's got Ken Jeong
Yeah.
in it. Like,
Yeah,
My
maybe.
question is, if you look close enough at the movie cover, it looks like they superimposed the guy's face onto a
they did.
body. Why?
They did.
His
I
head is
don't
so
know.
big. It
That's
looks
clearly like photoshopped on there. In all honesty, I feel like, and pardon my language. Wait, never mind. The real dick move to start this company after all those layoffs, all those people lost their jobs to start a new development team. You know, I don't. Yeah. But it does have a good cast, like people that worked on The Witcher, and people that worked on Far Cry.
Maybe that's why they closed. They needed to free up the funds to pay all these like high profile developers
Could
they
be it.
hired for the new studio.
yeah, we were talking about this like a bit before we started recording, and like my thoughts were pretty much, you should have announced this before the shutdowns. I think timing wise, that would have been a whole smarter thing. And it's pretty dumb to see, and like, because like the things I said were from like the write up on like the website, and it's dumb to see like dedicated to establishing an environment that inspires bold and diverse ideas, when just last week the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush was shut down, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's awful timing. I think we can easily all agree on that. Mark, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's just saying like it doesn't make sense. Like they shut all these studios down, and like you were saying, like one of the studios wasn't even really working on anything, right? So like, why couldn't you have had that studio bolster itself and start working on whatever the projects these guys are going to be working on? Like it, and also like because it's from one of these bigger companies and stuff too. My main concern is they're going to try and like change the game again on something, and they're just going to have the people like, here's the deadline, you either meet it or you release it anyways. And it's like, because we all remember how the CD Projekt Red uh one release went. The game's great now, but they were forced to bring this game out that like there's no way that they didn't know this game was a dumpster fire when they released it, that was not ready to push out. So like my main concern is, you have all these great developers, like this great team coming in, but they're going to force them to sort of try and rush through these projects, and like these ambitious projects that take time. So like it's all going to be a waiting game, as you're saying. Like the timing was very bad to announce this new development studio after they closed 3 and merged another one into another one. But like, yeah, time will tell to see if this was a good move or just a money grab. And yeah, it's hard to say right now.
They'll probably end up, they'll release one game, it won't hit the financial numbers they want, and then it'll just become another Call of Duty studio.
Yeah, that's also a big probability. Just slot in another Call of Duty to decrease their wait times between them even more.
Sean, where are you at with this?
It's saying like they're looking to build new genre-defining AAA games, which is what Activision is known for. So very excited to see what that means. Watch them like just copy and paste a game that already exists or something. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You know, maybe it was a good business call. Maybe they're working on something that's truly mind-blowing, but just unfortunate timing. Activision obviously, owned by Microsoft now. So very curious to see where this goes amongst the Discord. I'd be very curious to see like how Microsoft kind of comments on this to see, you know, kind of where they are or where this head space comes from. Because okay, so just from that sentence alone, working on genre-defining AAA games, like, isn't that what Hi-Fi Rush was? Like, it was like a new kind of rhythm game that we had never
Yeah.
played before. Like, talk about genre defining, but maybe Xbox had nothing to do with this. Maybe this is, you know, purely Activision, but we'll see.
That was the interesting thing I noticed was in like the press release they had with all the information. I could be wrong, but I don't recall seeing a hint of the word Microsoft in it, which I think is very much intentional in that they they don't want everyone just thinking back to like last week. But again, it's just like Microsoft, Xbox owns Activision. It falls under Activision, like, so it's just like it's not necessarily the point where like Activision is doing it on its own, right? It's so it's just yeah, I think the whole thing is just a mess. And like you said, they'll probably copy a game, so we'll see Stereo Dash sometime next year. A new genre defying game that looks exactly like Hi-Fi Rush, probably. Or it's annoying because like Activision has a massive catalog of games that like they could go back to, like Tony Hawk games, Crash, Spyro, really good stuff that they could have given to these studios that they closed down and kind of just like folded them into like the Activision like system, and then just like develop these games that aren't Call of Duty. But I guess we got to see what happens. You know what? The genre defying game will probably be a third person Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Oh
That'll
my
probably be.
I can see it. I can see it.
Can you imagine?
All right. Any final thoughts before we move on? All right. So a topic we're all probably super excited to talk about. Diablo 4 Season 4 Reborn. Major gear and itemization changes. Greater affixes, world tier 4 rare powerful affixes. The stars align on rare items, drops to grant you greater affixes. It's a lot of affixes. Greatly improving the power of your items. Professions and materials updates. Overhaul to Helltides and all world tiers. Helltide mini boss, the Blood Maiden, the Pit of the Artificer, randomized dungeon system, new world boss, Echo of Andariel, new world boss, Tormented Echoes, improved clarity, spend more time slaying and less time sorting with a simplified stat system that makes it easier to parse than ever before. Temper to perfection. The days of hunting for the perfect item drop are gone. Develop your gear through tempering and masterworking, building an arsenal that matches your unique playstyle. Improved Codex of Power. Store and imprint enchantments directly from the Codex of Power with no need for aspect crystals. The armies of hell are expanding their reach across the world of Sanctuary. The new threats to the system, enemies, Blood Maiden boss, and events join the Iron Wolves. Getting some Destiny vibes from that. In this season's activities and fight to beat back the tides of hell, earning you reputations and rewards. Helltide is now available for all world tiers. John, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I'm gonna do something to separate the audio listeners from the video watchers here. So I really enjoyed Diablo 4 a lot. It didn't get stale really fast. The loot system was great. And behind me, you'll actually see a chart of like how excited I am for this new update. And yeah, Blizzard is definitely not a greedy company at all.
Speaking nothing but the truth, I guess. All right. Mark, what are your thoughts on this?
Diablo 4 was fun when it came out. Had a great time. And then they were like, hey, what if we took all the best things and said, fuck it, threw it out the door and made them way worse? And then I just said, you know what? I don't appreciate this and I will never play your game again. And that's pretty much where I stand on it. It could have been so much more, but they, for some reason, decided to ignore their community, like in a way that I never thought a company would. And yeah, the game could have been a lot of fun, but well, it started off fun and it could have kept on being fun, but then they really quickly tried to test how far they could go to make it not fun and see how many people they could keep. So, yeah.
Sean, how about you? What are your thoughts on this?
You couldn't pay me money to go back and play Diablo 4. Yeah, also, like, I don't remember lore wise, but did Luke die?
Like loot?
Yeah, did he die or something? That's the main character's name, right? Luke. They're like bringing him back to life. That's pretty cool. I might jump in for that.
About damn time. Anthony, how about you? I know you got rid of your copy, right? You're pretty much out on it.
Yeah, I sold it. It's gone. Yeah, I haven't looked too deeply into this. I saw the announcements, but it's like I don't care. The problem with this game was it released and it was like so. Let's backtrack like a couple decades, 20 years, let's say. This game called RuneScape. Okay, the game was basically designed up to like level 50, but it went to 99 with everything. That is what Diablo 4 did. Like the game was designed to 50, but it went to 99 and there was just nothing. There was and it wasn't optimized like it was just not like I played it like I know what I'm talking about. Like I got it up right here 279 hours into that game, okay? And it was just they to the point where they even though you could grind to 99, they changed it that gear capped at 80 so that you could get your end game set of gear at 80 instead of waiting till you're 99 to then set up your end game gear set cuz but the where I dropped off with following anything to do with this game was when Last Epoch, which is a game in the same genre, a smaller game, smaller studio, they had a very innovative um, crafting system or weapon upgrading system, which lo and behold, the following season in Diablo 4, it was basically the exact system that Last Epoch had. Like they literally just ripped the entire system that Last Epoch established and used it in their game. And it's like, I don't know. I'm so done with that game. Like, don't get me wrong. I have no ill will against Diablo as a franchise. Like, I still love the time I had in Diablo 2. Diablo 3 is a game I would be more than willing to go back to at some time. But Diablo 4 specifically, like I'm done with that. Like from the greed with the uh, cosmetic prices to like the currency bundle that was $100 that you got a free mount with, aka the mount cost $100. To like them openly saying how like they're not going to intentionally make the in-game cosmetics ugly and the store ones cool, and then they did that anyway. Like I don't know, there's just so many negative things to me about this game just in general that I'm like I don't understand. Like when is Path of Exile 2 coming so that this game can just disappear off the map? Like anyways, about the this loot whatever the fuck season 4. Good luck, Blizzard. I hope you mine some more money out of your player base that's for some reason is still there.
I will say to not be like not everyone be shitting on the game. I will say it does seem like the narrative for the people playing it, they're very happy with it. Good for them. I'm happy for you. Uh, I when I look back at Diablo 4, I think it is like probably like top 5 one of my most frustrating like long-term like overall feelings with the game because I've never been a Diablo person. That game came out. I got fucking hooked on it. And like I was gunning for that platinum trophy. It took fucking forever for me and Anthony to get to level 100. By the time I hit like 80, my build was fucking nerfed to shit. So I had to rework a whole different build. But then the month after release, the new season came out. And it's like, you got to make a new character. And so I made a new character, worked on leveling him up as I was making my way to get to Uber Lilith. They nerfed the build I was using for that character. And I was just like, all said and done, I had like 350 fucking hours in that game. And I'm just one trophy away from the platinum, and it's Uber Lilith. But like, I've just given up. I'm done. I can't. It's so fucking annoying. But
That was the problem, man. Like the people that were primarily clearing that were using the broken builds only. And the thing is, like, even though you and I played a lot, there's people that played significantly more than us, so they were maxing out while those builds were current, and then they were just decimating the boss. And like, there was people. I don't know if you remember, Chris. You ended up opting to try and do it the true gamer way, but there was the option where when I quit, I gave you like basically a shitload of gold. And there was a venue where you could pay gold to have someone carry you and basically kill it for you. So I gave you the money, and you had the option to either rework all your gear for the new build or pay for the carry. You reworked all your gear, and then it didn't work because they fucking nerfed your shit or whatever. But the point is, like, if only like the only people beating that fight for the trophy were people using broken builds that Blizzard didn't want people using. So how do you beat it? Like, you had to be like frame by frame perfect to beat that fight, because anything in that entire fight was a one-hit kill unless you were what was that one build? I think it was a barbarian build, maybe. I don't know, which probably got nerfed. I don't know.
yeah,
It's too hard.
yeah.
I don't
No,
understand nerfing in a game that's like primarily PvE focused. Like, I get there is a PvP mechanic, but like, why do you care how people are playing your game? Like, yeah, maybe they're doing it a little bit quicker than you had anticipated, but like, that kind of like, for me at least, like, kind of sucks the fun out of it. Like, I know there is a PvP.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. Yeah, there is PvP in it, and like, yeah, maybe for that circumstance, tweak it in that sense, but why
If
nerf it for PvE stuff? Like,
I could only understand that approach if there was some form of like in-game auction house, or if trading was a heavily like, because if I remember correctly, I don't know if maybe it changed, but when we played, it was like, I think if you were with me when I got a drop, within X amount of hours of getting that drop, I could give the item to you, but that was it. So like, unless there was like rampant trading throughout the game or an auction house, I could understand that, because then why they nerfed it, because then you could take this broken build, go mine these rare items from like this Uber boss, and then sell them for a bunch of money. But that didn't exist in the game, at least at the time. So yeah, like you're saying, Sean, like, why do you care? I don't know. They just don't want people
you're
to be.
just shitting all over Activision. Or Activision, who obviously listen and watch this podcast, is probably very upset.
oh, actually, that reminds
Well-
me. This episode is sponsored by Activision.
They're just like, they have a bunch of money. They're just wiping their tears away.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Any final thoughts before we move on? All right.
Put it in your mouth.
I'll do it. It'll hurt.
Do
Just,
it.
Don't
Bit
you
of-
put it in your mouth?
So next up, the Wayfinder's Echo update coming June 11th. So the game is being reworked from an action like MMO to a single player experience or up to 4-player co-op experience. Support for the PS4 version will be discontinued, but players will be upgraded to the PS5 version. Early access ends in 2024. The game is slated to release on Xbox sometime before the end of early access. Online requirements and microtransactions will be removed. The game will be priced at $24.99 US. Those who already purchased it will obviously retain access to the game. Along with these changes, the gameplay will be overhauled. It will come with 4 difficulty levels and traditional RPG talents, while removing the need to grind for new characters and easing their awakening. All weapons will be obtainable as random drops with various slots. Armors will have stats, thousands of cosmetics, as well as housing items will be added, and more. Yeah, so like currently it's been removed from digital fronts, I believe, like the PlayStation Store and Steam, and it will be available again once the Echo update comes out on June 11th. Anthony, start us off on this one.
Yeah, I did. I knew about was it Airship Syndicate? Is that the name of the
I
studio?
believe so. I can look that.
Yeah, I knew that their publisher, like the Warframe devs, that they had dropped them and like they transferred over like the publishing of the game to directly to Airship. I remember reading about that. That had been after we kind of stopped playing, me, you, and Mark. Um, but this took me by surprise, like a pleasant surprise, because I really enjoyed that game. I actually put in a decent amount of time after you guys stopped playing. Like I got to the end game. I don't know if you guys remember. There's that world boss, that big fire guy. I ended up killing him a bunch, and I got like the weapon drops and stuff. But it was yeah, I got like 75 hours. Looks like. Everything, like, I know a lot of the community are disappointed because like they bought into this early access MMO that is now becoming a single player slash co-op experience. So I get it. I understand that point, and I'm not like, all I can say is yeah, that sucks for you. But this is actually really exciting for me because everything I enjoyed about this game, all I could think about was like this would be great in a non F2P MMO format. Basically the format they're putting it in, because even though we paid into it, we bought early access, right? Like it was intended to be a free to play MMO with a battle pass with purchasable cosmetics, and there was also it wasn't just limited to that. There was like you had to get weapon parts to craft the weapons, which the parts you could get as drops in the game, but not only were they rare drops, but you had to fight pretty hard bosses. Like there were some bosses I tried fighting, even queuing in with like a team of 2 other players. It was just so hard. Um, but in this new format, oh sorry, before yeah, so those items that you could get to craft, you could also just outright buy the weapon. You'd buy like the currency with real money, and then you could use that to buy the weapon that you were trying to craft, rather than actually craft it. So now with this, that I imagine that these rare drops that they intentionally, like most games, make it a grind to get because they kind of want to usher you to just spend money to buy. They're not only just pieces to drop to craft the weapon itself is now droppable. And I gotta imagine that the drop rate of it is probably higher than before when they were trying to do an F2P MMO. So I don't know. I'm just really excited about this, and I'm definitely going to jump back in once it re-releases in the new format. Um, and yeah, I can't wait. There's probably some new characters too, like after the first season, Venomous, or I think it was, that I don't even know about. So. And I'm assuming there's a format where you can get all the characters in game. Because I was listening to an interview and it's like it's cut and dry. Like when this releases, obviously, like you said, Chris, anyone who already bought into it, depending on your tier, you'll have access. I know the higher tiers you're going to get additional stuff. I'm not sure what that looks like exactly, but when it releases, it's a cut and dry. Like you buy it and that's it. Like anything in the game, like there's no microtransactions, no battle passes. It's all encompassed. I don't know if they'll do a DLC. I'm sure if this ends up being a hit, they might look into DLC. But as far as I know, everything in the game will just be there at the price point of whatever they put it at. Probably like $40, maybe 50. We'll see. But yeah, can't wait.
Yeah. So yeah, Airship Syndicate is who made it. Quick correction. Thanks to the video Sean's playing. So June 11th, the Echoes update goes live for Steam. PlayStation just says summer, so it doesn't have an official date for that yet, which I'm okay with because like June 5th is when Final Shape comes out, so I'd rather have that come out like later in the summer. Mark, where are you at with this Wayfinder update?
Honestly, I think it's going to be pretty interesting because, like, the game was a lot of fun. I would be very interested to see how things turn over into the single player aspect, just purely gameplay wise. But like it's cool to hear all the things that Anthony was saying. They're just going to throw into the game to kind of can't think of the word, but like sort of like had the loss of like that sort of live service game aspect. I'll definitely try it once it comes out and see how the experience. And maybe we'll play some co-op on that. Yeah, like it sucks that this happened, but at the same time, like maybe this in the end is actually going to be kind of like a good thing for the game. Only time will tell. Just yeah, it's curious to see how the update's going to change it.
Yeah, and I mean it'll be all running locally now. I remember the guy in the interview mentioned how because it's not running off servers, that the latency and stuff will be like practically nothing. So
No
performance
2 hour
supposedly.
wait time. Never mind.
Oh my
I don't
god!
want it.
Remember that meme, Q Finder?
Yeah. Yeah, when we first started trying to play the game day one, just like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a quick nap. Hopefully, I'm in the game.
Wasn't it like 2 weeks of it? It was like that. It was like
Yeah, it was messed up for a while.
yeah.
Just want to point
Still
out.
fun, but yeah, I
uh,
felt bad. I felt the worst for Chris because he
yeah,
got screwed over so
Yeah.
bad.
I got fucked by that. The last I was super confused watching the video Sean was playing. I was just like, that looks nothing like Wayfinder, and it was Warframe. So just
Yeah,
to
it
clarify.
auto played. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked Wayfinder when I could play. Yeah, the server issues at the launch were really bad. It's a smaller studio, so you gotta give them leeway. But at the same time, like when I'm spending like 4 hours trying to get in, and I'm hearing Anthony and Mark having the time of their life playing, and I get in only to get disconnected and then have to go back in the queue, it was like super discouraging. But
Yeah.
everything they've listed as changes are like right up my alley. I like these decisions. I'm excited for it. John, where are you at with this?
Man, okay. No, I didn't really. I didn't play it. I had no interest in playing it. I could see both sides, like why people would be upset about them changing directions, and I could see why people would be happy about them changing directions. And honestly, like the fact that the developer did dump a bunch of money into it, they're probably making the right decision here by changing it over from a server based like game as a service type thing to a single player, so they can have people continue to play their game, buy their game, and like they put a lot of hard work into it, right? So they don't want to just scrap it, just say fuck it. And all the people that had spent their money on it, they're just shit out of luck. There's no game anymore, which has happened sadly. But yeah, no, I can definitely see why people would be upset and why. Me personally, I don't see myself ever even getting into this game. So
No, that's fair. Yeah, there have definitely been games in the past that got shut down where I wish they released like the offline mode for. Biggest one for me, I would say, is Marvel Heroes. Like, I really regret what happened to that. Sean, how are you feeling about this?
I have a little bit of indigestion, but I'm going to take some Pepto and probably be on the mend. So feeling pretty good. Actually, I never even heard of this game, to be honest. I've been researching it as you've been talking about. Like, I'm not much into MMOs, as everybody knows, but yeah, I'm kind of curious. As I was researching, I found out that Digital Extremes was the publisher, and they had dropped Wayfinders and transferred ownership to the developer. I'm wondering, like, if it was a case of like the publisher being like, we need money. Like, what's the revenue? How are we going to generate revenue? And kind of like putting together this kind of battle pass, early access, paid for thing, and then the developer getting back control and deciding to pivot and make it that offline co-op kind of thing. I'd be curious to know why the pivot. I couldn't find anything on it. It seems to be, kind of like a major pivot. I know that, the game came out 2023, which, between 2020 and 2023, there was a slew of MMORPGs coming out. I think that partially has to do with the fact of like the pandemic, everybody was home. MMORPGs was kind of a way to stay social and stuff like that. Like we saw kind of a lot of MMOs come and go as a result. But yeah, interesting. I probably would never play the game unless the co-op ends up being really fun and really great. Obviously, this wasn't even on my radar for some reason. You guys must have talked about it at some point. Maybe I just zoned out. But yeah, I'd be interested to know like why exactly they're pivoting. It seems like kind of like a good guy move to remove all that kind of battle pass stuff because as we were kind of seeing a shift in the industry as people become kind of weary and tired of battle passes coming out with every game and always online, like maybe that's the reason for the pivot. But yeah, good for them. Hopefully it goes well.
I think part of the pivot is the studio has already said like they're looking to move into other projects, and I think it was a call of like, this MMO we tried, it's dead, right? So it's like they're like, we have to shut it down, or we could do this, and that's where I do kind of find it funny. Like a lot of people are complaining about this change, but I feel like a big portion of people that bought into it weren't playing the game anymore, anyways, because this is that their player numbers is a big part of why their decision was made to do this, so that they can at least, I imagine, probably look good in some regard while they continue to work on other stuff. Because once they pivot it to this format, it'll pretty much just be a small designated team within them that would have to upkeep with bug fixes or whatever, right? Because all the content, it's cut and dry, it's there, it's done, and we just need maintenance, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we move on?
No.
I got
No.
maybe Tums are better.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of heartburn.
Let's take both.
Pepto covers. Yeah, I'll do both.
All right. Before we get to the final topic, last week's final topic. What games do we play when we're feeling under the weather? Sean, what do you play when you're feeling under the weather?
No. When I'm feeling under the weather, I'm in bed. I can't even move. So I guess like I'll pick a game that I play maybe when I'm feeling down and just want to shut my brain off. It's a good question. Was anybody else not here last week?
Yeah, I could throw it to Anthony. Anthony, what's your game when you're feeling under the weather?
So generally speaking, it's depending on the severity of it. Like if you want to go lean into it, it's like when you're like, oh, I'm gonna just chill in bed all day, kind of under the weather. It's most likely going to be on my phone. And surprisingly, recent times, because I just recently discovered that I could do this, and I'll tell you the logistics about that in a sec, is it's actually been old school RuneScape on my phone. Because I was under the impression that while RuneScape 3, which is like the modern MMO version, because there's two of them, the old school and modern, the modern one, I was under the impression the modern one, it has free to play and you could free to play on your phone. But I was under the impression that the old school version, you had to have the paid membership to play the mobile version. So when I discovered that, that's kind of like, I dabble a bit outside of that, but like, yeah, if like, whether it is under the weather or say hungover, kind of similar concepts in a way, right? Where you're just kind of vegging out. I do lean into that. There's a couple gotcha games I play as well. A lot of them are kind of like, booby games, but like the Stellar Blade developer, Nikke, Goddess of Victory, that's a pretty decent one. Nothing too heavy. Like I know I have a Switch for mobile, but I do find playing handheld in bed, my two lower fingers tend to get numb. I don't know if I'm like dying or something, but
Yeah, you're dying.
yeah. But I'm still putting together my list of sought after games that I want to use on the PlayStation Portal, because that'll be much more ideal, because it'll have like the PlayStation grip, so hopefully my fingers don't go numb. Like over Thunder, Overlord. What was it? Unicorn Overlord. That would
Thunderlord, Thunderlord, Overlord.
Thunderlord. That's what. That looks like it would be a great game for that. I also picked up Aiden Chronicles, although I do want to play that one on the big screen, at least to start once I get into it. But yeah, for the most part, it generally kind of confines to my mobile phone for when I'm in those situations.
All right, Sean, figure out what yours is.
I was thinking, like, honestly, when I'm sick, like, I'm pretty wiped out, so I don't game much when I'm sick. Like, I usually like watch anime or something, but I do feel like when I am sick, I'm more kind of likely to go back and play older games, like more nostalgic games. When I do game when I'm sick, so I might hop on like Wind Waker or something, or like old school Animal Crossing. I will say though, like now, because I'm older and I'm dealing with like daycare diseases, like I'm just in bed when I'm sick. But I do remember back in the day when I was sick, I would just pop on New Leaf and play that on my DS. So I guess Animal Crossing, New Leaf. But I don't know how you play anything when you're sick. Like I have like a pretty heavy migraine disorder, and when I'm sick, that like is exacerbated. Like I have such a bad migraine. Like I put on the most nonsensical stuff in the background, and I try to sleep. So I might be dying. I don't know. Are
We're
we
all
all
dying.
dying?
I mean, Anthony almost had a stroke like 10 minutes ago. So
Yeah, Over Thunder.
yeah, over Thunder. All
I
right,
love Over Thunder. That's my favorite game.
all right. Now for our final topic. What is your favorite controller of all time? John, what's yours?
I'd have to say the GameCube controller. I just like what's a face for, man?
I'm just kidding.
Come on.
That was a funny face.
So like I just like how comfortable it feels in your hand, and I like how accessible all the buttons are. Like they're grouped like pretty close together, but not like uncomfortably close together. The layout is perfect in my opinion. My only complaint about the GameCube controller would be like eventually the triggers would get kind of clangy. You know what I'm talking about, where they would make those like tink, 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 tink,
Yeah.
sounds when you would press them. But I feel like that adds some charm to it. But yeah, that's my favorite.
All right, Mark, what is yours?
Wow. See this one right here.
Son of a bitch, that's mine.
That's what you get for putting me first. Well, for you. Yeah, this one right here. It is lovely. I love it. You get all the presets that you can put on there, so I can set up all different games for the back paddles right here. And if you want to, you can also customize the colors of them. And the big thing, because what I suffer with, I don't even know why, but what I suffer with the most with controllers is the left stick always gets a little bit of drift, and or sometimes it's been the right one, but it'll start off a little bit, and then it'll get so severe that I cannot play the game at all, and that's happened with 3 of my PlayStation controllers so far. So the fact that I can just take this module out and put a new one in without having to buy a whole new controller, I like very much.
Yeah, mine
And
is
the lead triggers and everything is just awesome.
mine is the DualSense Edge as well. I was trying to think of like an older controller. I was like, I don't want to go something so new, but I genuinely can't think of a controller I've loved as much as this thing. Like echoing everything that you just said, the build quality of it is super nice. It's just I love the feel of it. My only complaint would be make one that isn't white. Like the yellow stains are starting to show on the back of mine. Like from all that lemonade I drink.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that. Your lemonade addiction. Yeah.
But no, I love this thing, and just the concept of being able to remove the analog sticks is such a brilliant thing to be able to do. Granted, like they didn't start that. Like Xbox had it with their Elite controller. Other places have done things like this, but it was just nice to see Sony finally get into a high-end controllers economy. Anthony, what is yours?
My answer is a little more kind of vanilla. I kind of like the PlayStation 4 controller the most. This little guy right here. Hey,
Okay.
what's the
I
matter?
got
What's the
several
matter?
broken ones if you want.
Well, so like, I really do like the PlayStation 5 controller. It's just the grips. You know how they kind of like taper off at the bottom. I want thick. Like, well, I don't know if the Edge does it. Like, I haven't had an Edge. Like, see, look. See, I like the tiny likeness of this, where it's the same. I like the layout. The layout's good. The spacing of the buttons is good, but I just like the tininess with the chonkier ends. You know, where you can just shove it somewhere if you want.
We're still talking about the
But,
controller, right?
But yeah, I don't know. My hands are, they just feel right in this position. Whereas this, it's like I've adapted to this. I've adapted, but this just felt right. You know.
All right, Sean, what is yours?
Yes. So couple of different things that I wanted to talk about. First and foremost, there's a lot of things that I like about different controllers, and then there's the perfect controller. When it comes to the dual sense, of course, like, yeah, I love the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, and I love that they incorporated like the triangle, square, circle, X in the design, very minuscule. I love the Joy Cons, being able to kind of play as you want with the Joy Cons, be able to chill like this. And I was thinking I could be a basic bitch and I could say GameCube controllers because GameCube controllers are fantastic. But then I looked in the mirror and I said, Sean, you are an extravagant bitch. You are such a fancy bitch. Why would you ever say GameCube controllers? And the reason is because GameCube controllers aren't wireless, right? Except for the Wavebird, the perfect controller. Of course, it's got a little bit more junk in the trunk, but it's still got all the buttons in the right place. The GameCube controller is perfection. And when it becomes wireless, it is even more so. I remember because of the way they specifically use the controller, I think it's not infrared like the Wii. I forget exactly what it is. But my buddy Ali had one of these, and we went outside of his house and played Soul Calibur from the window of his house, and it was just pure perfection. Look at that, the nice silver coloring there, the fact that it was wireless, just perfection. So I'm gonna say the Wavebird.
That looks uncomfortable as fuck.
It wasn't. It felt just like a GameCube controller.
Did it? That middle piece didn't like get in the way.
No, not at all. No,
Hmm.
no, because think about how you hold the GameCube controller. It's got
Yeah.
kind of like those grips on the back. So no.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I remember it
I
being really
actually have
comfortable.
an honorable mention that I just remembered about.
Is it
So
the wave form?
no. So for the PSVR 1 had a really fun controller for some of their games.
What is that?
Damn.
It's
that a
the
gun?
it's the assault rifle controller. So like it
Is that a
has
Sibian?
was yeah, it has like your controls right here. It has trigger, so like when you're actually playing the games. So this one's a good honorable mention. They don't have something like that for the PSVR 2, but the regular controllers to the VR 2 are far superior than the stick ones from the first one. But yeah, I just remembered that I had this over there, and this was definitely a very fun controller to play for the games that supported it.
You know
God,
what?
did you ask if that's a Sibian?
Dude, it looks like something you would like somebody would buy with the excuse that it's a massager. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Vibrate on.
Since you did an honorable mention and we shared the same answer, I'll do an honorable mention. And I'm gonna go with the Rock Band guitar controller. I love the feel of that thing because like it just gave the vibes of like a actual guitar just with the feel of it. And I loved having like the bottom neck of the guitar, like the strum buttons. I really enjoyed that controller. So
I'm gonna give an honorable mention as well. The Ouya controller.
Wait, is that the little square?
Yeah. Oh no, it's like an actual the Ouya? It was like an actual controller. It was garbage though.
Okay. My honorable mention is going to be the Joy-Cons. Outside of the
You mean these
inevitable
buttons?
drift, the hell is that?
I loved
Ancient
it. I wanna
See,
hold
I
it.
like the more clicky buttons of the Rock Band one though. Like,
Oh, the Rock Band one?
yeah.
Well,
Are we fancy?
I want it. Can I have it, Anthony?
well, I got another one in there.
Can I have it?
I'll buy it off you.
I'll kiss you for it.
These are very expensive.
Yeah.
$20.
That's a pretty good.
$10. $10 and a kiss.
Make it 5. Ain't got a deal.
$10, and you get my next
5 kisses
child.
or $5?
Dude, I wore this to go get Subway one time.
Yeah, I remember. I think
Recently?
I took a photo of that.
It was interesting.
Good time.
Inspired
Give
by
me a
South Park.
discount.
No. They kept looking at me weird though.
All right, that has been another episode of the Guy Pie Podcast. I'm Chris. That's Anthony.
Bye,
That's Mark.
everybody.
Bye.
That's Sean John.
Bye.
I don't know who I am.
Who am I?
I had no outro this time. I had a really good intro. I had no outro this time.
That's a way.